Yep. Okay, that's all I have to say.
You know what I'm real interested in is you'll hear talk, of course, around the internet about the Amero, about a new currency. Our money guy, Andrew Goss, suggests that they have a world currency. It is the dollar. Why get a new one? What does the linguistics say about the currency, a new one, any gold backing, anything there that's fun?
Okay, we have to be very careful about that because we do have linguistics that support that. We, of course, also pick up...
Support what?
The idea of a global currency arising,
Okay.
That the powers that be would engineer such a thing. We also have linguistics that would support the idea of the Amero because a lot of people talk about it, and it is also an archetype. However...
But that doesn't mean it's correct just because a lot of people talk about it.
Correct.
Okay.
And in our data, it seems to suggest that first we have a series of small currency collapses like Iceland, probably over this summer and into early fall, and then the major collapse of the dollar. And then currency as a global concept becomes shaky. So the introduction of any new currency is going to be in an environment where it will not thrive. So any pressures to create a global currency, which I don't believe is really in the powers that be interest, and nor do I think that they actually want to do that.
You're right. There's no really, as long as they can inflate this one, what's the point?
Well, their
right?
point actually is divide and conquer. They don't make any money on a single global currency because then you don't have the spreads. You don't have the differentials by which they are able to basically come on in with the World Bank and rape whole countries.
Yes. Well, good point.
So it is not in their interest to have a global currency, and I've never felt that they would. But there's, of course, a certain amount of fear factor associated with that. We also find that there's a hardcore belief within a fundamentalist community whose fears are triggered by the idea of a global currency, one world government, etc. Now, the powers that be use that fear repeatedly by leaking out information that they're going to do this when, in fact, they have no intention of ever doing it. But what they're attempting to do is to manipulate fear patterns.
Of course, yes.
So, see, so in our case, yes, we've got linguistics that support it, but I don't buy it because there's a greater mass of linguistics within the markets that seems to suggest that by 2011, currencies may resolve down to calories. Literally, we may be trading honey because it's got extra calories in it, and an ounce of honey might be worth 35 zucchini or something along those lines.
Well, see, that's a curious part about what you do, Clif High, which I think is fascinating. It must be for you because, like, we did an interview with a gentleman who is like this scholar on the Bilderbergers a couple of weeks ago. Just when the meeting was coming up, and I kind of thought deep down that, listen, these guys they kind of got their act together, and they're pretty sharp guys, and they've been doing this a long time. I don't know why they would ever release anything or let anything get out that they didn't really want to get out.
There's a certain amount of what you say is true, but I believe that situation actually changed about, say, 18 months ago. That there was actually a crack or a small hairline fracture that appeared in their ability to control things as we started getting deeper and deeper into this. Now, bear in mind that here's the situation. We have 6.5 billion people on this planet. The powers that be are represented by a group of 13, which control 300 families, which control about 10,000 individuals. And then those 10,000 individuals might have millions of minions. The minions cannot be considered to be part of the powers that be because they have no... they may think of themselves as stakeholders, but they have no vested interest in it from the top down, so to speak, from that view, and they will be cut off at a moment's notice. So we're really looking at about 10,000 individuals or so who are attempting to manipulate and control the planet. So they have some level of control, but they're not absolute, and they're not infallible. And in fact, they're very clever, but they're not particularly smart because they're missing all kinds of new clues that are coming in from universe, and these people just aren't picking up on it and reacting the way that is harmonious with their interest. And in fact, they're reacting in a way that suggests all kinds of fear within the powers that be infrastructure. They're very much afraid that by November of 2011, they will not be in power. That by that point, the idea of the Bilderbergers, the Templars, the Masons, the Illuminati, and all of this will be daily fare for everyone as we learn all of the secrets they've had hidden for all of this time, and may in fact find instances of where they've been strung up. And in fact, it may even go to the extent that royalty will not exist anymore, that will be a crime to claim royal blood because of this bloodline elite thing. the future gets really weird after November of 2010.
The future's pretty weird right now, but
it's a little strange now. But I mean, it's sort of quasi-normal. You know, we got the idea of wars coming up relative to hyperinflation and currency destruction, and you know, this coming fall, the political structure of the United States is going to be running around like they're trying to find the right rabbit hole to duck into. But starting in 2010 on, the linguistics we get shade from scientific to science fiction-like.
Really? So this is really leads some credence to our friend George Ure, who talks about guns and grub and garden and God and that kind of thing.
I have a grow dome. I'm not particularly a gun fanatic because I think they're relatively useless in our current situation. And I prefer, you know, sticks and stones, really. They're much more effective as weapons. But he's not wrong. He's not wrong. We're getting to a situation where the infrastructure around us will not support the powers that be. Think about it this way, too. If we just look at it at a practical level, 6.5 billion people, it takes X number of square feet to grow enough food for each one of these people. Every time we have a new prince or princess born to any of the members of royalty, something on the order of 60,000 people must die to support their excesses in their first year of life.
What about, let me do just a little business here, but we're with Clif High, and I must tell you, and I will tell you that Jeffrey Smith, one of the foremost authorities on genetically modified organisms, GMO, seeds of destruction, he's probably the top guy in the world on GMOs. He'll be here Saturday, 6 p.m. Central Time, Saturday, 6 p.m. Central Time. Next Monday, Leonard Horowitz, who is just an amazing guy. He wrote all kinds of books, and he can tell you things about how HIV and stuff like that got into the population that'll just curl your hair. And he's doing some pretty cool things. He's going to be on the show, and that's going to be 10 a.m. Central Time on Monday, next Monday. On Tuesday, next Tuesday in the morning, we are beginning to broadcast in the morning beginning next week at 10 o'clock in the morning, every morning, and the shows will be available live for you to call in and email in 10 a.m. Central beginning next Monday. We're going to leave the evenings and go to the mornings, and then you'll have the shows available on the website, no cost, by noon of every day. So that's cool. Leonard Horowitz on Monday morning, and then we're going to do a whole thing on marijuana on Tuesday, medical marijuana, and also a guy that's doing some amazing things with hemp oil and marijuana. You're going to love this. And then on Wednesday, Andrew Goss and the Real World of Money, 10 a.m. on Wednesday morning, and Thursday's guest is still up in the air. Okay, Clif High, halfpasthuman.com, and he now has his pay deal, and it's going to go off, Cliff, what? For you have $36 now for a whole year's worth of stuff, right? Wait a minute.
Previous report.
I'm sorry, I had the wrong button up. Start again. So the previous report is $36, right?
Right, and then when we start the new ones, we'll be posting them about every week. Our schedule varies slightly, every 7 to 8 days, and every time we post, you'll be able to download that one, get an abstract of it, decide if you want to read it. If you do, it'll be $10, and you can download it, and there you go.
That's great. Okay, now, 888-663-6386. We have a little bit of time. If you'd like to be on the air with a question, a lot of you listening tonight, go ahead and call up. Also, email Patrick at oneradionetwork.com. What does the linguistics say about the good old flu, swine flu, bird flu, whatever the hell it is? But a lot of people are talking about a big thing in the fall. Do you believe that? Yeah.
We've been seeing that since early 2007, that the disease, that the words around the disease archetype would show up in some seriousness here from September of this year on through October of 2010.
Wow.
But a lot of it will be supported, so to speak, by the breakdown of the dollar, which in turn causes our healthcare system to take a big collapse.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody that's worried about that kind of thing needs to be worried about it, but they need to be motivated to become effective and to do things like get enough sun and or take vitamin D supplements. Make sure they've got a good diet, wash their hands and all the things that make sense, because it is going to get relatively nasty. But it will not be dominant. The whole dominant thread of the emotions from this fall will be the dollar, the economy, and potential wars as a result, and actual wars as a result, and much more so, perhaps 10 times as worse, 100 times as worse than we had in the fall of October, or of 2008.
About 2000. So I have to ask then about this whole Iran thing and Israel, linguistics on that.
Unless that we're doing some processing now, there's always the hope that the linguistics are wrong. I wish to be proved wrong. But the linguistics at this point suggest that Israel will go crazy and will attack Iran. And that the Zionists, not Israel, I hate using the word Israel when I really mean the Zionist control structure of that country, will attack Iran. And curiously, our data suggests that there will be a gap before there's a response, but that the response will just be devastating, beyond people's understanding.